Okay. All right. So then let's talk about an S. An S being somebody who's very nurturing. Typically S's we see as nurses and teachers and people who care about other people, who take care of other people. So what would be a nurturing hook for an S?
This community is, like the neighborhood superheroes, like something like that.
I love that. Yeah, how to be the home in the neighborhood that sets the standard for your neighbors in sales price, something like that. Great point. I mean, Ebony, you gave me that. Thank you. And then we have the C's, the people who are all about the numbers, all about the process, right? They like the details. So the hook for them, anybody have an idea? Okay, well, when we get together, because I think some of you said you wanted us to have a day in the office or a time in the office when we could all do videos together and brainstorm and do ideas and then do our videos, we'll talk about this. But for the S, I would do something like how to increase the profit of your home by 10%. I would talk numbers.
Or the C.
I mean, sorry, for the C. Thank you. So that's kind of how you can repurpose the same video, but you have different hooks so it appeals to different people and your message is getting out to more and more people. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
And when we do that video, we'll have somebody in who's really good at Canva, unless one of you are, to show us how to edit those videos so we all know how to do not an unknown. Because sometimes those unknowns are stumbling blocks. It's like, oh, that's one more thing I have to do to figure out Canva. I can't just do my video. Now I have to figure out Canva. So we'll get all that done that day in the office. And there's just one more thing. One more thing I wanted to say. There's a book resource that you can read called The Irresistible Pull of Rational Behavior. I'm going to post this, by Ori and Ram Brafman. And what they say is they're kind of the lead into the book is, why is it so difficult to sell a plummeting stock or end a doomed relationship? Why do we listen to advice just because it came from someone, quote, important? Why are we more likely to fall in love when there's danger involved? In Sway, that's another book, renowned organizational thinker Ori Brafman and his brother, psychologist Ron Brafman, answer all these questions and more, drawing on cutting-edge research from the fields of social psychology, behavioral economics, and organizational behavior. Sway reveals dynamic forces that influence every aspect of our personal and business lives, including loss aversion, our tendency to go to great lengths to avoid perceived losses. So when you think about people selling their home and how afraid they are of being the one who didn't get the best deal, right? This could be a book that give you some insight into those kind of behaviors. So I'll post our day, and also they talk about the diagnosis bias, our inability to reevaluate our initial diagnosis of a person or a situation. Have you ever met somebody and they just didn't appeal to you at first, and thereafter after, for some reason, you have a dislike of that person and you don't know why? They've never done anything to you. You've never had any real interactions, but you just have kind of this dislike. Or think about this. Think about women in relationships with, or anyone in a relationship with someone who's not treating them well. And they fight so hard to keep that relationship because their initial diagnosis was, this was the most wonderful person I've ever met. And then there's the chameleon effect, and that's our tendency to take on characteristics that have been arbitrarily assigned to us. So I think about that with DISC all the time. I'm like, well, that's kind of a label. It fits, but I don't always have to act within my label. I can be whomever I want to be. And just because somebody labeled me a certain way. And I think that with the KPA too, I think, well, psychologists in our world aren't evaluating KPAs. We as humans are evaluating KPAs with all our inexperience. So I take that kind of thing also as a guide, but kind of with a grain of salt, if you know what I mean. Anybody have any thoughts on that? Okay, well, day 4 homework is to do a video in the Facebook Roswell Rocks. Talk about what you learned in productivity coaching today, or do one of your helpful videos. You might inspire somebody else. Do your 10 video texts. If you're doing DT, D2, it's a wonderful way to do those texts that we have to do or that we want to do. And then you want to do the same video content as from day 3 homework with a different hook. So, so if you did a video yesterday, just take the same video and just put a different hook on it. Start it off differently, right? And if you didn't do a video, today's the day. Go get some inspiration from Roswell Rock's Facebook page. Look at Tracy and Lorenda's. And remember that people want authentic more than they want polished. There's a book called Presence, and it's by Amy Cuddy. And there's a TED Talk you can listen to by Amy Cuddy. But one of the things that she's a tenured professor at Harvard, and she and her group study in part, why do investors choose some people who present over others who present? Why do they choose the investment? And what they found is it's not about the greatest return or the most promising investment. It's about the presenter's authenticity and their passion. And sometimes they mess up and they get nervous, and the investors respond to that, knowing in some cases that's because they care so deeply and they want so badly for it to happen. And that's the person they want to be in business with. So you see that on Shark Tank sometimes, if you've ever watched that. So just remember that authenticity goes a long way over polished. People want to know why you do what you do more than they want to know how you do or what you do. One other thing, how many of you would like to do a reverse bold? And we're looking at February 23rd, which is the day after family reunion. The office is empty that day, or let me say the office isn't empty. There are no scheduled classes, so we can have the big training room. How would you all like to participate in that? And if you don't know what a reverse bold is where we do a giveaway. There's a checklist for reaching out to your people, your sphere, your past clients, whomever you want to reach out to. And they have a certain time that they call in to be entered into the drawing. And the drawing is typically something like a Peloton, and we will have sponsors who will provide the giveaway. We all might have to put in a little bit, but it won't be much. I would say no more than like $25. But Reverse Bold has a track record of when you have that many people calling you to be entered into the giveaway, then you have a whole lot of reasons to reach out and touch them. And there's a whole system around it that we'll go through. So would you all like to have something like that?
Yeah, I
Yes.
I guess. Wait.
Yeah, no, I just, no, I would, I just would, I have a few questions, like, I don't know. Yeah.
We'll talk about, well, if you all do that, we'll, because it's a big investment for our sponsors. So they need to know that we are in, and it'll be a little bit of an investment for us too. But we will lay out in the huddles next week what happens and the process up to it, how you reach out to people and so on, that whole checklist. And then how you follow up with them. I think Dustin Kimberly and his team had an end of summer giveaway, and they did kind of a reverse bold. They did a reverse bold, and they gave away 2 free tickets on Delta to somewhere. They gave away a day on Lake Lanier in a boat, and they gave away tickets to a Braves game, and you could choose one of the 3. And I think they had over 500 people calling in. Now they keep in mind they have team members, so it wasn't just Dustin 500. It was Chris Manslick and Kimo Kimura, Marie's. So all of them had reached out to their clients. And so, but they had 500 people calling in. So it can be a huge lead gen opportunity. So we'll put that on the books. We'll announce it next week for sure. I'll announce it Friday for sure, tomorrow for sure. And then we'll get to work and we'll talk about how we can make that a win for everybody. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
We have enough time. I mean, it's only like 2 weeks away.
Yeah, I think we have enough time, create some urgency. And the biggest thing is we needed a day when there's no classes in the office, so we can all be in the office calling or having calls coming in. Okay, any questions about today? Any comments?
Quick question. You said repurpose the video that you did last night. So my video last night was about texting. So when I go in and repurpose, you said just pretty much change the title?
Mhm.
Okay.
You-
Okay. 'Cause I don't have the editing software yet.
You could say something, how to increase your engagement with your sphere. And then you go into your video content. Yeah. So let's talk about our one things. So Lorinda, you're up on my screen. What's your one thing for today?
You want to do an additional video and then tweak the one that I had last night as part of the homework. And then I'll
Okay,
be in the office for the meeting today.
me too. I can't see everybody. So who's next?
I'll go as Tracy. So today I'm going to look at that pivot shift video and act on it, and also work on my video.
Fantastic. Charleston, how about you?
Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm going to send out some or call some people in relation to the evaluation message, the property evaluation message. So I'm going to use that tack instead of the, hey, you want to sell your house type thing.
Yeah, and I would just practice a little bit before you call, warm yourself up.
Yeah.
For anybody who's making calls, that's the thing to do, just up and so that your first call, you're not like,
And I'm going to watch the video too.
Okay, fantastic. Ryan, how about you? What's your one thing?
I have a list of people that I would, that I want to try to get a hold of today, one way or another. And, and then I'm going to take a look at my list of and I already pulled it, but just to go through and figure out, make a system for equity analysis of people and how, start trying to kind of look at that and who to target, to make some of those calls. And somehow I'll do all that this morning before I come in for that John Prescott meeting.
Fantastic. All right. Well, my one thing is the John Prescott meeting. I'm excited about that, and I'm going to give it my full attention. Thank you all for being on here this morning. We are always so grateful for being in business with you. And I love, personally, I love going on this journey with you. You're all growing in different ways, and me too. And it's just exciting to be part of it. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, Candace.
Candace, take
Every-
care. Bye-bye.